optimal living, living optimally.
Hello, I'm Andrews Harris, host of Ask Coach Versandra. We have Versandra Kennebrew, the host of Optimal Living Starts Here on Beam TV. How are you today?
I am wonderful, Andres. You know it's always good to be hanging out with you.
Yes, we
whether
have a
it's
good
here
time.
in the studio or just out there in the community, it's always good.
Good, good. And how's our studio audience today? Well, today we're going to talk about the seasons and how it's changed. And although we are in a new season, a lot of times it's natural to self-reflect, self-assess, review what we've done and accomplished, and we like to talk about some accomplishments. Miss Versandra Kennebrew, we're going to talk about your accomplishments today.
Oh my goodness.
Optimum Living Education and Retreats, serving veterans and military families. Host of Optimum Living Starts Here on Beam TV. A 6-time book author. Integrative nutrition and health coach. Healing arts practitioner. You are an ambassador for USANA Health Sciences. You've hosted a radio talk show. We'll have to talk about that. And community engagement specialist, which you continue to do, which is a passion of yours. So tell me, within the sphere of all the various talents and ventures that you do, our audience has asked the question, how are you able to be so comfortable speaking in public and in large formats and engaging people and speaking in all the different venues and places that you've been?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question because it has not always been easy and it's not a walk in the park all the time. I can say that. It looks better on camera than it does in real life. I'll just put it just like that. I practice a lot. Practice makes perfect. We've all heard that before. And the method that I use for my practice is through a membership with Toastmasters International. And this has been a part of my life for the last coming up on 7 years. And it's because I recognized that the things that I wanted to do in life, I did not have all of the skill set in order to do it and do it well. Because I don't have a master's degree in anything. I've got many certifications and I've studied many things, but I wanted to be excellent in conveying information, making sure that other individuals have the option to know some of what I've taken the time to learn over, almost 60 years of life. And when you are speaking to individuals, you have to do it in a way that they can receive the information. And so therefore, there's a lot to do with the tone and your voice and those type of things. There's also storytelling that's involved. And I'm one of those people, my natural inclination is facts. I generally only do step 1, step 2, step 3. But I had to learn how to tell stories because everybody's mind doesn't work that way. They call me a direct communicator. So I get direct. And so I'm like, ooh, how do I learn how to shift that a little bit? And so Toastmasters has been a wonderful tool. I tell you, I really don't know. It could have maybe taken an additional 10 years for me to get to where I am today if I didn't have that ongoing practice. And so they have this program, it's called Pathways. And the Pathways program, it takes you through different paths based on what your goals are. So I remember one of my first education things that I learned was how to speak on camera. There's a whole segment on how to engage the media and how to interact with the media. there's many different parts, even how to deal with people when they come at you with something that you are not expecting, and you have to respond quickly, and you have to do it in a way. Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to do it in a way where you're not emotional and not talking about how you feel, but you're talking about the facts. So all of those things came into play. And you mentioned community engagement. So because community engagement was a huge part of what I did as a volunteer at AmeriCorps Vista. I'm a volunteer in Service to America alumna, very proud to be that. So I volunteered an entire year to work with a youth organization that had an after-school program, mentoring, and all kinds of other wraparound services to support youth. And I was passionate about that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And because of the passion, yes, because of the passion, I went deeper into how to do this more effectively. I learned about how to get out there on the bus stops with the family members, even when the family members didn't speak English. And I had to find someone who could translate the information that I wanted to share with the mothers, and, how to communicate with someone who doesn't even speak your language.
And that's a good point. Communication is very important. Not only is it important, but effective communication. Yes. And that's one of the things that you and I talked about extensively, which is how she got me to join Toastmasters. Speaking of her passion, I think congratulations are in order, right?
Yes.
Tell us about your recent accomplishment.
Yes, well, I am almost near the end of my first year as the club growth director of the 126 clubs in Southeast Georgia. And that's a total of over 4,000 members of Toastmasters. I can't believe it.
Congratulations.
Thank
that's
you.
something to be very proud of.
Yes, I am, because 2 years before that, I served 2 years in a row as the division director of this area here in Phoenix City and Columbus, Georgia. And there are 12 clubs in this area. And when someone nominated me to be the club growth director for all of these clubs, oh my God, I was nervous. And then I had to...
Wait a minute, nervous? I'm sorry, continue.
I was nervous. I'm like, do I have what it takes? And then I recognized that Toastmasters is where we learn how to take our leadership skills that we already have, develop them more fully, and take us to the next level of leadership. So once you've been a great leader of 12 clubs, the next step is 126 clubs.
Well, on that point, let's ask this, just to expound on what we're talking about, and the topic of Toastmasters. What did it take for you to get to this space, or this position you're in now?
Oh, wow. It took 2 DTMs, which is Distinguished Toastmasters distinctions. It really determines that you are above and beyond reproach when it comes down to things such as your, I like to use my little acronyms and stuff. We call it RISE: respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So those are the core values of Toastmasters International. So you have demonstrated those in every way. You have done, and within two distinctions, that would come up to about 140 speeches. Wow. I have completed over, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, about 4 major projects. These are projects that required you to work with teams. So you had to have about 4 or 5 people on your planning teams. You had the committees, a core issue that you wanted to resolve in your community, in your family, in your household, in your church. You had to choose a project. And so I've done 4 major projects, one of them which led me to becoming an AmeriCorps Vista, because I'm like, well, how do I transform lives? How do I be the change I want to see in the world? And I aligned myself with an organization that would help me do that. And so that was a fun experience, but it came from really Toastmasters.
Well, speaking of alignment and speaking of experience, speaking to our audience out here, what would you suggest or how would you convey what Toastmasters could do for them?
Oh, wow. Now, this is my opportunity to really be that club growth director that I say that I am. And I would just say this. If you have had this thought in your mind that you wanted to do or be something that you are not right now, then you need Toastmasters. The fact is that no matter what you do in life, you have to be able to communicate.
Yes.
And you have to be able to communicate what it is that you desire for your life. You have to communicate how you want to get there, the path you want to take. You have to be able to communicate to those individuals who will help you reach your goal, because no one is an island and we can never reach huge heights alone. So to be able to engage others and have them to support you in reaching your goal, communication is essential. But then there is the leadership part, and leadership is for every individual. Whoever you are in your household, you have opportunities to lead. In your community, you have opportunities to lead. Being a leader just simply means that you're not waiting for someone else to tell you, let's do this. You are willing to be the one to say, hey, let's get together and do this. So leadership is essential for us growing and expanding as human beings.
Yes.
We are dynamic. Yes. I mean, we are so awesome as human beings. But many times we get stuck on the past. We get stuck on what we have done, and we don't allow our creativity to flow and think of the possibilities of what could be. So in Toastmasters, you will be surrounded by individuals from all walks of life, various countries, 164 countries around the world.
Expansive.
Yes.
That's
and you
expansive.
will have an opportunity to share ideas and approaches to different things, methods. But with that pathway system, you will be able to explore all that you have desired for your life and take steps, creating a plan and having action steps to accomplish all that you are desiring. So that's what Toastmasters can do for you, my audience. And it can help you to be a host on a great show like Optimal Living starts here, and be able to support 4,000 individuals in becoming the next generation of leaders.
And I would like to add, supporting yourself with
Yes.
your own goals and own achievements. So it make it very personal, and then you can expand out
Yes.
and broaden your horizons.
Yes.
Using the tools that are provided with that program.
Yes, yes.
This is
I'm
why
just
I
so
like
glad
to
that you
feature
are a
you.
member too.
I am a member. I'm a proud member of Toastmasters.
Yay.
I actually was introduced to Toastmasters actually through Georgia Power Company.
Yeah.
Was one of my first experience with Toastmasters. And then Coach Versandra rekindled my passion for speaking and communicating effectively. And she said, you should rejoin. She's very, what's the word? Persuasive. She's very persuasive. And I like the passion that she has. So again, if you can find it useful in your life, even on a really personal level, I would suggest, or I would admonish you to join Toastmaster.
Yes.
Just check it out. I think it would make a difference.
Yeah, and I mean, we have our Troy University Toastmasters
yes.
Club that's right here in Phoenix City on the river. And that is really the perfect club to join, because let me tell you about that club. It has individuals from the highest level of leadership in Troy University, community partners from various agencies that are around the city, both in Phoenix City, Alabama, and Columbus, Georgia.
Yes.
Community partners. So it is not just Troy University, but we have members that are from other universities and colleges in the area. We are all just individuals who want to take it up a notch, and we want to mentor and support the other members of our club. This is like a club environment, somewhat like a sorority or fraternity, if you will. And these are just individuals that made a commitment to support each other.
Yes, building camaraderie.
Yes.
And we have fun.
Yes. The annual conferences are amazing. I just got back yesterday.
That's right.
Yes, from
That's
the
right.
mid-year
Tell
training
us
that
about
was
that
in
training.
in
In
Las
Vegas.
Vegas. What they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, we learned a lot in Vegas, and it was enjoyable. But the information that I brought back with me is what's going to be necessary for me to carry out my role throughout the rest of the year. So now, with the extra support that we had from 2 days of intensive training and sharing with other districts, because I'm a part of what they call the trio. These are the top 3 district leaders in the entire district. So I was working with a district in Canada. I was working with a district out of the Bahamas. I mean, this is what we're doing. So it was just a wonderful experience to go there and represent Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Alabama, and this entire area as one of the top leaders that are really doing great things to make a difference in the world. And I gotta say this, we just completed a time when we give honor to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And one of his famous quotes is all about being great. And he says, everybody can be great because anyone can serve. Right. And that is such a powerful statement to me, because when I think about this little Black girl from the east side of Detroit in the projects, you know, living with rats and roaches and stuff. And I don't mind sharing my story because I know someone that's listening is inspired by my story. But to think of myself in my humble beginnings and to see myself now being able to manifest my dreams, and not with a whole lot of money. I want to say that too, because I don't want you to think that this is something you have to be rich in order to do great things. You do not have to be rich in dollars and cents, but you have to be rich in your consciousness and your feelings about who you are. Yes. And that's another thing that Toastmasters does, because the confidence comes from you practicing whatever you say you want to do, doing it well, and, you know, being awarded and rewarded and those type of things, acknowledged for your accomplishments. That's when you know that I can do that and I can do anything else.
And if I may interject, it also builds your self-confidence and enhances what's already there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, we're beginning anew all the time. Every day we wake up. Every day. We're beginning anew. It's an opportunity. Yes. So it's really important for us to decide, you know, well, who do you want to be? You know, do you want to be who you've been in the past, or do you want to take that to the next level and be all that you can be by really engaging in personal development and personal growth?
Absolutely. Because what we do know is true. Change is always happening.
That's a fact.
Well, thank you, Coach Versandra. I think you have given us a complete overview of Toastmasters. But as anything, don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself.
Yes. Try it for yourself. I'm so appreciative of you and Dries. I can't believe that you would just give all of these wonderful kudos and stuff for little old me.
Well,
but
no,
I'm happy.
Listen, they're well earned.
Yes.
And they're true. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that the motivation, or I know the motivation for me, is knowing that the things that I would like to accomplish, and then seeing someone who mentors me and is a good friend of mine accomplish her dreams, and the things that she wants to accomplish are happening because she has the tools, but she also shares the tools. Yeah. And so that's why I felt like featuring, you know, this episode of Ask Coach Versandra, using the question,
Yes.
that asked about how did you become so confident
Yes.
and able to speak so
Yes.
well in front of the camera, in front of many people.
Yes.
Again, thank you all for sharing this time with us for Ask Coach Versandra. I'm Andrews Harris. This is,
Versandra Kennebrew.
and we are grateful. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Optimal